Hi, this is Tommaso Basili. I am actually chatting with you from Italy, Sardinia. You probably know me from the Netflix series Rise of Empires Ottoman. I was playing Emperor Constantine XI. Happy today to be here in Traversing the Stars.
Hello, Mr. Basili. Thank you so much for coming to Traversing the Stars podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's totally my pleasure, sir. Me and my wife absolutely love Rise of Empires Ottoman, so this is a big honor to have an opportunity to speak with you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So I always start off with the question of inspiration. So what inspired your love for acting and who your earliest influences?
Wow. I kind of had I would say maybe an unusual journey because I started late, very late compared to others. I started studying acting at 31, 32 years old. I'm 43 now. It's something I've always wanted to do. It just took me a long time to decide just to dive right in. So, you know, as a kid of the 80s, my influences were, I loved adventure movies, anything that Steven Spielberg had done, you name it. I was into that. I would say, you know, all of the blockbusters of the 80s were my earliest influence, and you know, some I would call it art house type of cinema, which really shaped me as a kid. Don't know if you know a movie called My Life as a Dog, for example.
Oh, I didn't know of it.
Incredible movie.
We're actually the same age, believe it or not.
I'm sorry.
We're actually the same age.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Yeah, 43.
1980.
1980, January 1980.
Same, June.
Oh, I'm actually older than you. Oh my god. So before you became an actor, what were you doing?
I actually did everything I hated doing. I did all kinds of jobs. You know, when I was in my teenage years, I loved theater. I loved singing. Actually, one of my biggest dreams was to become a singer, a professional singer. Anything. I loved rhythm and blues. And that brought me to be on stage at the age of 13, 14, 15 with little, we could call them musicals. So this was my first interaction with the world of entertainment, and I loved it. Then something happened, you know, with my 20s, I kind of became a little bit of the shadow of myself, and I did all kinds of jobs, you know, all kinds of jobs which I really didn't like. And that's what brought me at the age of 30 just to say, I got to try this.
So, I mean, that takes a certain level of guts to, in your 30s, decide, I'm going to actually now pursue acting, which obviously is one of the more riskier professions to jump into. So, like, what was it that you finally thought to yourself, now's the time to risk it, I'm just going to do this thing?
Well, because, you know, it's just like you live once. And, you know, I like to consider myself, knock on wood, a late bloomer. So I was like, this is already late. And, you know, either I give this a try now or when, you know, it was, even though I don't want to think that age is a problem. In life, it's never too late till you decide. But just the way I was built, I was just like, okay, either I do it now or it's not going to happen. But what I mean, it's not going to happen. Of course, I wasn't sure if I was going to have a career as an actor. I mean, I was just like, at least I got to know if I can do this. So I decided at the age of 30, 31, I was going to study for 4 years and not say anything to anyone because I didn't want any type of, you know. So so that's what happened. And yeah, it was a crazy decision, but you need to be a little crazy sometimes. So
now, when you went into acting, did you give yourself like a timeline? Like, if I don't become successful in this many years, I'm gonna back out, or is it do or die? This is what's happening. This is what my goal is.
No, it's more of I'm going full power onto this. You know, I went into steps, meaning my first objective was, can I be good at this? You know, I really started from zero, meaning I wasn't sure if I had the qualities to be a decent actor, at least. So my first attempt was, okay, I got to find out. I have to find out if I do have the qualities to do it. And if I end up thinking I do, or if I do get some good feedback, then we go to the next step, which is, let's try to make this a job and not only an aspiration, you know, because also one thing is studying acting, and another thing, which the Americans have taught me very well, the other thing is the business of acting. They're two very different things. And yeah, so that, you know, did I give my, it was more like, if I do find myself that I'm not cut for this, then I'll just have to be at peace. But then if I do find out that I am somewhat cut for it, then just let's go with no timeline. Let's just do it, you know, and see what happens. Yeah.
I mean, obviously you turned out that you're cut for, because you star as Emperor Constantine XI in Rise of Empires Ottoman, which once again, me and my wife loved it. It was brilliant. It was acted brilliantly. It was just really well done. So how did you get involved in the project?
Well, it all starts with an email from your agent. I was in the island of Sardinia, where I am right now. I don't live here, by the way. I live in Rome, but I come here sometimes. And yeah, I did get an email for this project, which it was explained as a documentary, but you know, reading through it, I quickly understood that it wasn't exactly what a documentary is. And remember, this was in 2018 or 2019, where, you know, this type of format is more common right now, but already 5 years ago it was a little bit less. So it was a bit of a blurry line between a documentary and a series, right? So anyway, I saw the email. I mean, I love history. I absolutely adore it. And I was like, oh my God. And yeah, I started, you know, with a self-tape, and then it led to a second audition where I had to fly to Milan. And I think I had another meeting or two more meetings, and then yeah, I couldn't believe it. I got the job.
So what interests you the most about this potential project?
I just love, as I said, I love history in general. I'm in awe with anything that has to do with the Greek and Roman world, for reasons that I know and some reasons that I still have to figure out. I know this was set a bit later, so we're not talking, you know, ancient Greece, or we're not talking ancient Rome, but it's still very much connected to it, right? So, you know, it was very interesting to me. And loving Istanbul, I think it's an incredible place. I've been there before, which is interesting. I am in love with Hagia Sophia, you know, the main.
Yeah.
I've been there many times, and I was like, wow, you know, I'm going back now and I'm playing this dude. It's like, oh, this is pretty awesome. So yeah, for me, it was I really, really wanted to do this project, really, like, deeply.
I must say, you've been to the place I would always want to go to, Rome, which obviously you're from, and also Istanbul sounds like it'd be amazingly awesome as well. So yeah, you have envy points now.
You should go visit.
As you said, you're interested in history, ancient Greece, Rome, stuff like that. How familiar were you specifically with Emperor Constantine XI before getting the role?
To be honest with you, not much at all. Because, you know, in many ways, for example, even though I've had an international education in my life, the part of my education which was set in Italy, of course, dealt more with the you know, the history of the Mediterranean, but on our side. Right? And so yes, of course, I knew who he was, and he was the last, and he was emblematic of, you know, a major change of the world layout back then, but I didn't know anything about the man. You know, not much. And actually, it's very difficult to find information that described him personally, as it often works. And especially for the Greeks, is almost, I would say, considered between a god and a saint. You're dealing with with something that is bigger than life.
Yeah.
And if you make him human, you're not going to get those information there. You know. So yeah. So I didn't know much about it. No.
So you're playing someone who's compared to a saint and a god, which let's face it, none of us are going to be able to quite envision what that must be like. How do you approach playing someone so far out of the realm of what regular people can identify with?
Yeah, you know, I was very worried about that aspect. First of all, because I know you're playing a personality that is greater than life, and it's been so important into history, and it's considered a hero and everything, but you're still talking about a guy. A guy that has incredible responsibility. And so I was like, how am I gonna blend these two aspects of, let's call it divinity with vulnerability? How do I put two things together? Well, fortunately, Rise of Empires has done an incredible job with costumes. So the divine side was very much helped by what you're wearing. You know, as an actor, that helps you very, very much. And as a person, I just had to decide. Obviously, we're talking about a man who's collapsing. Empire is collapsing. He's collapsing. He knows that it's just a matter of time. You know, he knows deep in that, you know, the city is going to fall. There's no money. The Venetians are not around. It's just whole. So my inner question was, am I a man who's incredibly strong and is being crushed? Or am I already crushed and I'm just trying to hold myself up? And I've decided the second. And I was just, my human approach to the man is, you are destroyed, but you're going to fight with dignity. And how would a man do that? And then, and then incredible sets, incredible lighting, incredible everything that, you know, supports you. I don't know if it makes any sense what I'm saying.
Oh, no, it completely does. And the one thing that's kind of interesting, I mean, once again, Constantine's an important part of the film, I mean, of the series, but it's more pointing from the perspective of the Turkish side. So where did you look for backstory, as it were, for Constantine?
Bibliography. I've consulted more I wanted something that would be neutral, sort of neutral. So I wasn't going to look into the Greek perspective, and I either didn't want to look into the, I would say, Turkish perspective. Not to say that either of them would be lying. It's not that. I was just like, okay, let's just see what the Italians are talking about here. And I kind of did my research a little bit there. Now I read a book by, I forgot the Italian writer. He's an incredible archaeologist and an historian. And I kind of, creating a character is a bit, when you don't have a lot of information, it's like putting together a mosaic. You get a little bit from here, a little bit from that, a little from that, and you talk to the director, think what he has in mind, and you start putting him together. To give you, it might seem crazy, but my biggest worry was, how would my character walk?
Okay.
Because you would think, as I started watching myself as Tommaso walking. Like, no, an emperor doesn't walk like that. A man with all this responsibility on his shoulders. But in the same time, I didn't want to display an archetype of how an emperor would walk. So, but I just wanted to have, and I don't know if this came across on screen, but it certainly helped me acting. I just wanted to have a sense of a man that would be standing up, but it would be carrying an enormous weight on his shoulders. So I started walking around the house with 4 kilos on each, how do you call it, the ankle between my, just to give my sense, a sense of weight of a man who's trying to hold up. And that's what helped me find my version. It started from there, a strong man carrying a heavy weight.
That's awesome.
you need to simplify it sometime, because if not, you're gonna get nuts, you know. Yeah. So that was my beginning. That was the way I was like, okay, so who's this guy? I mean, what's happening? Carrying a heavy weight, and he did.
That is awesome. I never even considered that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's I don't even know if you have said that, but it's the truth.
So I mean, is there pressure in playing an historical figure? Because, like you said, he's someone who's going to be important to a lot of people, culturally, historically, and obviously it's on you to, make it so someone that they would envision. So, how much pressure did you feel in making sure that those people were satisfied?
I think it helped the fact that we're talking about a person that really existed, but in an era, in a period where we didn't have cameras, videos, nothing. So I knew that I had to display my representation of the man.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it serves the story, I would have thought that would be good enough.
Mm.
And, if I have to play Trump, where there's plenty of images of how Trump looks like and he talks, it would be easier to be criticized. But, I didn't worry too much about it, other than, I need to stick to the story. What is the message here? And do it the best way possible. And plus I had, the director, he's American Turkish. I had him as my lighthouse, is this, are we going the right direction? Are we giving the right message? So he really helped me. So
now the interesting about the story is that, based on perspective, Emperor Constantine XI is either the antagonist or the or the hero or the villain of the story. Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely a point of view. I mean, he is protecting his city. On some level, you think that makes him a heroic character, but at the same time, from a Turkish perspective, obviously not. So what was your perspective going into it?
My perspective in terms of, am I the antagonist or am I the bad guy or the good guy?
Yeah.
I didn't even think of it that way. I just thought of, I need to protect myself. I'm being invaded. This cannot happen. But, I didn't even consider myself the victim. I was just holding the fort. It's interesting. I never thought of it. Am I the good guy or the bad guy? It's more like, I gotta keep it together here. I don't know how to explain it. Watching the series, watching the series, I am the victim, so I could be labeled as the good guy in some ways, I would say. But I didn't think about it in those terms, really. Yeah.
Did you think, when you think in terms of Emperor Constantine, maybe I should separate the historical version versus the TV show version, the TV show documentary version. Did you envision the version that you played as a leader, as a good leader?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, I think, you mean as an emperor? Is that what you're? Yeah, given the fact that someone who did absolutely the best he could with very, very scarce resources, it's almost like the story goes a certain way. My character always knew in some way that was going to happen, but not because it's written in the script. It's more like, it's sort of the boat is going down.
Yeah.
You just have to hold it up as much as possible and however you can. And I think the journey of the character is, okay, it's going down. It's going down. It's going down now. It's going down now. Hold it. Done. So I think he died with dignity, I would say.
Do you think his primary motivation was his own survival, or was it protection of the city?
I think it was the protection of the city. It was the protection of a dynasty. It was the protection of an idea. It was the protection of a world, the Byzantine world, which, with the collapse of Constantinople, it was the final striking, hit, I'd say. So yeah, protection of its people and of everything that he how can you say, represented. Yeah.
So one of the nice things I love about the series is that it is a beautiful looking series. The sets are amazing. So how much of the sets were real and how much were computer graphic?
Oh, a lot of them were real. Most of them were real.
Really?
I wouldn't even, I mean, computer, I don't know, because, I wasn't there in the editing room, but I mean, some sets were recreated, obviously, but they were tangible. You were in actual real spaces. And some of them were, sorry, somebody's calling you. And some of them were actually shot in the real ancient walls of Constantinople.
Nice.
Which that was mesmerizing. I've had such a great time. Especially once there is that section where I'm, the troops are just out and I'm speaking to the crowd, like, essentially we're gonna die in honor or whatever. Those were the real walls.
That's awesome.
And it was
awesome.
And it was an incredible location, I would say. It was just outside of Istanbul, and it was so inspiring as an actor. Almost don't need to act; you're just there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, how much training did it take to prepare for some of the more actiony sequences?
Well, mine were not that many. I honestly, if I have a little, I wish there were, because I would have loved to take that sword out and stuff. But no, I prepared for about 3 weeks, heavily by myself, more to get into the character and a few things. But yeah, I had some horse riding training, but then at the end, I wasn't much on a horse. Yeah.
So, I mean, like also, I mean, the sets were amazing, the costumes were amazing, and also the other actors were fantastic as well. And I'm gonna get the name wrong. I know it. Birkin Sokulu.
Yeah.
Am I in the ballpark?
Justinian.
So what was he like to work with? And also, you did have a lot of scenes, but you had, but what was it also like to have set with Jen?
Well, me and Birkan / Giustiniani had a lot of scenes together. We had a blast, by the way, very much. But with the whole group, it was truly great. I didn't get to shoot much with the Ottoman opponents. So, for example, Cem, I met him a lot, off stage and off set. I mean, terrific guy, by the way. I wish I could have, acted more with him. But no, but it was, I honestly had a blast, and especially with, with Osman, with Birkan, and it was fantastic working with them. It was fun. It was really fun.
So when you looked around, did you feel like the emperor when you're working with like, listen to me, I am the emperor?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm just like, kept that walk with me, I went back to the hotel. I was all like, dude, okay, chill out a second. Still had that, yeah. And again, I love the costumes. Those costumes were fantastic. And to be honest with you, I mean, that was my first big role, and extremely grateful to have been able to do it. For what was my experience, that was 2019. I probably had been acting for only 5 years by the time I got that. And, acting, I mean, studying before, and I did get some before that and everything, but, that was my first big one. And to play in such sets with such costumes with other wonderful actors, it was fun. It was great. It was fun. I loved it.
So why do you think Rise of Empires Ottoman is so well remembered, and what's next for you?
why do I think it's remembered? Well, it's a very interesting way to entertain and educate people, because in many ways it's a way, I think it's a way to explain history in a very engaging way, other than only opening books and studying, you know. The mix between that and this kind of very epic way of shooting, it just stays with people, I think. I mean, what's next for me? That was the question. Yeah. I actually finished a movie that I guess it's coming out at the end of the year. Again, working with an American production, which I love. The movie stars with Connie Britton, and I play a longer, and it's I don't want to say much about it, but I would say it's a movie that I wouldn't call it a horror, I wouldn't call it a thriller, somewhere in the middle. Super fun to shoot, an incredible story. I love that. And then I believe in the United States it's coming out in October. I'm not so sure. You know, the movie by Michael Mann about Ferrari. I'm in that movie, and I play you know, an important Italian tycoon that is no longer alive. I'll tell you later who it is. I don't know now.
Awesome. Well, when you're ready to discuss them, you can come right back on the show, I hope.
I'm sorry?
When you're ready to discuss them, hope you come right back on the show.
Of course.
Thank you so much, Mr. Basili. It's been an absolute honor to speak with you, sir.
Oh, same. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. You too. Ciao.